On today's podcast, we have Ryan Schroder. He is the founder of Fuze Real Estate. And today we're going to talk all about the Minnesota Real Estate Club and how AI can help improve your business. Well, welcome to the podcast, Ryan. We're so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So for those of our listeners that don't know who you are, tell us a little background story on how you got into where you are right now in real estate.
Well, I got my start in this business when I was 19 years old. I started as a marketing assistant for my father, who had recently just switched careers in being a business broker. And so everything I had started doing was really just guerrilla marketing. I would spend Thursday and Friday night writing 100 handwritten envelopes that said confidential to owner, with a handwritten note on the inside from my father and his business card. And then on Sunday mornings, I would get up with my dad early in the morning, and we would go to some business district in a certain city, and we would slide these letters into the back doors of businesses under the assumption that the first person to come there on Monday would be the owner, and they'd be coming in the back door and they would be seeing this envelope.
This is great.
And so I really just got my start doing marketing, like a marketing assistant. But in doing that, I got so exposed to people buying and selling businesses, and like I really was grateful for that exposure because it like kind of planted the seeds for who I would become. So yeah, from business brokering, it went on to hotel brokering. After I graduated from college, I thought the business brokerage was going to give me a job. But they said, you should come back when you have some gray in your hair, then people will take you seriously. And I spent 5 months working for a bank, taking their advice, and hated it. Felt like a slave and a captive. So I parlayed that into being a hotel broker. So, which is really funny because at that point, I don't think I'd ever even stayed in a hotel, but I was going to try and sell one. And so, yeah, I mean, I started in commercial real estate, did that for 4 years. My third year, me and my little compadre brought in $1.1 million in commissions between the two of us. And
that's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was 25.
Wow.
Just in my third year in business. But then,
way to start with a bang.
I know, no kidding.
How
do you keep that rolling?
I got to be honest, though. That's a great question. How do you keep it rolling? That's what I didn't do. I started goofing off more, taking golf lessons during the day and more vacations and all the things that I had done to make myself so successful. Started to kind of go to the wayside. But then 2009 is when this all happened, and then we created an opportunity where the housing market just plummeted. So I had dabbled in business brokering and hotel brokering, and at this point I was like, I got some money, I got some knowledge. Let me just start buying these discounted houses. And that's like how I really got started. Up to that point, I had worked for other people, but I decided to jump in and start my own company during the Great Recession.
Wow. So you ended up buying a lot of those houses.
Yep. Did
you flip them, resell them? What did you do there?
Well, my very first foray into entrepreneurship was as a property manager. So me and my founding partner, Goran, we had been buying some properties together and then managing them. And people in the buildings that we would own properties in would be like, hey, how'd you find a tenant so fast? Could you help me? And so it kind of started organically as a property management company. But what I would find is that in my capacity of meeting with property owners about doing property management, they would tell me all sorts of stuff. Like, I just really want to get out of it. I owe $200,000, it's worth $250,000, and they'd give me all these details. And so I ended up buying 34 properties on contract for deed with no money down, from sitting across the table from people who thought they wanted property management, but they really wanted was to sell it to me. And so I kind of started my portfolio through property management. And then as we grew property management, then it became clear, it's like, we need realtors. So we added a brokerage on, and we had all these properties needing repairs all the time. So we're like, well, let's get a general contractor partnership going, and we'll get that side going. And then once you have all those pieces and access to deals, then to your point, then came the flipping, then came the scaled up investing, and we had a good run when the market was ripe for that. And then it kind of fizzled out as the market became more, competitive and intense and stuff like that. Right around, basically COVID was about the end of the good times of investing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm like trying to wrap my mind around the fact that how much experience you had at such a young age and how that just kind of organically grew into where you're at now. How can you talk about like kind of the relationship side of things, but also the learning side of things? Because each of those, like they kind of flow into one another, but there's still definitely a learning curve with like each venture that you took.
Right.
So how did you make the right connections and how did you know what you were doing?
Fake it till you make it, I guess.
Okay,
No,
well,
I'm kidding.
that definitely fake it till you make it is definitely a big part of it. But I would characterize it as resourcefulness is one of my best qualities, right? And so back in my day when I was doing it, Google was my greatest resource. And I got to the point where anytime I had a question, I would go to Google and I would just do research. And then eventually that started to kind of lead to using YouTube and other things. But I'm not trying to sound boastful, but literally everything I know was self-taught. I started a real estate brokerage and hired realtors without ever having been a realtor or sold a house. I started a property management company without ever doing property management for someone. I became a general contractor when I never owned any tools, never worked in the field. So yes, fake it till you make it. Also a sprinkle of audacity, add in some resourcefulness. That's a big part of it. Connections though, no, I mean, I had to build it from absolute nothing, just pure belief in myself. There was I didn't
Fearless,
I didn't
that's
have
what you
any meaningful connections really to start, except for one mentor that was owned several businesses that would meet with me once a quarter to give me advice.
Wow. So all of those decisions and ventures eventually led to you being the founder of Fuze Real Estate,
Yes.
which is where you currently are today.
Correct,
So
yeah.
tell us about that.
Well, it's been 16 years now, and the company, like I said, kind of started as a property management company, and then we just started adding on divisions. At one point, I think we had 8 divisions. We had commercial and flipping and all this different stuff, but we've kind of like right-sized it, I feel like now. We've got 3 main divisions. So Fuze, the name, came about because we thought that what made us unique is that we fused together all these aspects of real estate to serve the real estate investor. So the 3 divisions are rentals, realty, and renovations. And you can kind of hear the RE alliteration there, and then Fuze Real Estate, and our domain is fuzere.com. So we try to kind of like build it with some intentionality into the branding, but
There's that marketing background.
Yeah.
I know.
I learned
Came
everything.
through.
I learned a lot from other people around me, for sure. Like, I would say that one of my other great sources of inspiration is just look at who's crushing it. You know what I mean? From Alex Hormozy to, Cody Sanchez or any other like mentor. It's like, you can just kind of like get a little bit of a feel from other people. And I'll tell you, I tried to be rich and anonymous for the first 15 years of my career. I did not do social media. I did not go to events. I did not have this club. I did not do any of it. I was like, I wanted to like work my shift and go home and like, be a recluse. But I watched people consistently that I thought were less talented or less smart than me excelling past me because they were building a brand. They were doing marketing. They were doing all these things, not just relying on word of mouth and good business to get her done. You know what I mean? So I've had to change and step into the spotlight more in the last 18 months than I ever have. So.
And do you like it in the spotlight?
It's uncomfortable, but I can say that without question, the benefits have been so tremendous that I'll never go back now.
Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits? Because like you said, I mean, you were successful, making a lot of money, doing what you wanted to do. What ways did it lead to more growth? Is it just new connections, people finding you, team members, or what?
I would say that the social media itself started to kind of come into my own when I realized that I don't need to compete with reels and videos. I'm a writer at heart. I write really long thought leadership type post about things ranging from like AI to parenting to, you know, business or whatever it may be. And when I stopped trying to fit the mold of what people were expecting, like people don't want to read this long of a post, right? But they'll read mine. Like I'll get 10,000, 50,000, you know, whatever people to read these things or whatever, right? And so that was one thing that was the first thing that I learned is just be authentic, be yourself. Don't try and play the game the way that someone else is doing it. Play it the way that it feels most natural to you.
That's how you build a recognizable
That's
brand.
so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And we're losing a lot of that now,
Yeah.
as you can tell when you open social.
And I don't mind if I'm a dinosaur to people. If they think
Yeah.
that my way is up, then don't watch it. Don't care. I don't care. You know,
Yeah.
don't care. But I would say the other piece, Grace, that was really eye-opening for me was the connection between doing in-person live events and networking things combined with social media, because the social media on its own wasn't really doing much for me until people started to meet me in person and be like, oh yeah, I've seen your stuff on social media. And then if I advertise my club events, for example, and they see me associated with it and they see me on stage, and then they, you know, ask to be my friend on Facebook, so next thing you know, they're seeing my content. And so I would say the biggest thing that I've learned is that social media, in my opinion, really gets solidified with relationships and networking and all that building if you combine it with the in-person component to it.
Yeah.
And the events for me are a way for me to get in-person time with 50 to 100 people at a time.
That's
Amazing. And a
so
great
good.
segue, because we want to talk about the Minnesota Real Estate Club. Can you tell us more about that? You kind of started talking about the thought behind it,
Yeah.
but what is this club?
Yes.
So it had been around for 16 years, and a guy named Anthony had been running it for the previous 8, and he had kind of put word around town that he was burnt out. He had kind of turned it into something that he would enjoy, which was like a club where they would go to this cowboy bar and drink and talk about real estate. or whatever, right? And
Is there a mechanical bull?
right,
Sign me up.
but like,
I'm kidding.
but I took there was
There was,
and-
don't you worry.
but it was weird to me because like we're in this room and it's about like drinking and food, and like there's TVs on playing sports, and like I'm just like, this feels so distracting, and it didn't feel authentic to me, just like I was you know,
Right.
again following that authenticity. So the very first thing that we did, and it was a membership-based club at that time,
Yeah.
is we moved it to our office and we started doing 3-person panels where we would get experts on a specific subject and have them speak. And we would have the first hour be education-based and the second hour being networking-based, because frankly, that's the way I would want a networking thing, is like, teach me something, let me meet somebody who's really intelligent and knows something that I don't know, and then let me mingle.
Yeah.
Not too much of anything, but a little bit of everything, you know? And so I started to do that. And then I realized I hadn't asked anybody for any membership dues in like 6 months. I hadn't put my hand out, right? So I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna make this stupid thing free. Then I can just remove the friction of having to ask people for money.
That's fine.
And then next thing you know, it started to grow even faster. And then the people who would be speakers, they would bring their friends and their colleagues and stuff. And so it started to expand. And some of the patrons who would come, they started getting a lot of business out of coming to the club. And then the next thing you know, they're approaching me about, hey, I really want to help support the club. Can I be a sponsor? And all of a sudden it's like, I'm not even asking for money, and they're coming to me with money. So I recently just took on 3 more sponsors, got a big, sum of money. Next thing you know, we're moving to a bigger, sexier venue. I'm buying new microphones. I got this like new videographer who's, I guess, going to be even better. We're getting these like LED light things that are like, I don't know, cubes or whatever to put on the side just to kind of dress the thing up. So like we're going ham. And
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love like your personality, even with how you got started in the business, and then you can just see it too, and how this group has transformed as well. Like, you're so just kind of laid back, like how it'll happen is how it's gonna happen, and it just like works itself
Yeah.
out. Like, not to say that you obviously are putting in the work,
yeah.
but I love that you're just open to seeing how it goes and like seeing what feels right, and then it just
Yeah.
goes
That's a
well.
strong personality trait. There's not a lot of people
Yeah.
that can just roll with it like that and just make it happen.
Have you ever read the book The Go-Giver?
Yes, and I love it.
That's one of my favorite books. And one of the things that like I took from that book is just, you know, I always lead with value. I always like offer, I always give. And like I found that by giving without asking and just creating immense value, not only do I get one of my greatest joys out of it, which is words of affirmation, because people come up to me and say, you know, how
So
great
great,
it is.
yeah.
I got so much out of this. I learned so much. And
Thank
this
you,
is so
thank you,
wonderful.
yeah.
And I'm like, that fills me up.
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
when I
please
come
keep
home after those, you know,
Yeah.
club meetings or whatever, like I can't fall asleep for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But aside from that, you know, I would say it's given me so much in terms of indirect value. The relationships that I've created with the speakers and the relationships that I've created with sponsors now, I feel like my network is 300% bigger and badder than it was 18 months ago. So whether or not I collect any money from anybody who comes, I've grown,
Right.
You know, the network has grown.
So these events are open to anybody,
Yeah.
and they can just register and show up. Is there a limit to
Well,
like? I'm assuming.
when we hit our seating limit, which we've been hitting, you got to stand in the back. But
She'll let 'em in.
But we're providing food. We're providing drink. We're doing it completely free, and it's all geared towards just teaching people about subjects. Now, selfishly, since it's my club, I pick the subjects and I pick the speakers, and I follow my own interests. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like the last one was on acquiring commercial real estate, because I'm in the process of selling my residential portfolio and I want to buy some commercial
You're like,
real
what
estate.
can I learn
was
right
like, who
now?
can I make friends
Teach
with? Who
me.
can teach me along the way?
Yeah.
That's
and
the
then,
best way to do
I
it.
know.
yeah, and then I'm like, you know what? I might need more money for it. So then I was like, let's do another event. We'll do it on capital raising, and I'll get prolific capital raisers on it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in September, I've been thinking, gosh, you know, there's been so many times where I'm on stage and I'm asking people questions, and I just like wish that I could be the one being asked the questions. So in September, I'm doing a little like 1 month curveball, and I'm going to have Adam, who's the CEO of Fuze Real Estate, be the host.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to do
Adam's
a
great.
6-person panel, and we're going to do on AI for real estate. And I'm going to try and
I
dazzle
love
people
that.
with what I know on AI. So
That is awesome because, as you know, AI is the hottest topic. So tell
Should be.
us right now. I know you're totally into AI.
yeah,
What are some of the things that AI has done to help you with your business?
I could go on and
I know
on.
that could be a podcast on its own.
Yeah. Well, a couple of the highlights, I was able to reduce my transaction processing costs by about 95%. So every time I was receiving payments at my construction business, I was paying either 3% or 1%. I found a way to basically eliminate those fees by creating my own payment processing. I would say I've created like a maintenance troubleshooter that goes in every time we get work orders, reads them, understands them, asks qualifying questions, communicates with the tenants, and then eventually asks the owner for approval, and reduce that person's workload by about 40%. I took one person's entire job who was doing billing and invoicing, and this is probably the crown jewel of my own personal achievement here. And I've taken a 40-hour week job and made it into 15 minutes once a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And then I also I completely reconciled all of our company's accounting for Fuze Real Estate and set up automations. And so now I no longer need an accountant either. So I've been able to eliminate 3 jobs, 3 subscriptions, and eliminate my transaction costs on payment processing.
That is like unbelievable.
And that's
So
just the
what
big
haven't
things.
you done with AI?
Those are just the big ones.
He doesn't stop. He's doing something right now. No.
Yeah.
That's
And how long
amazing.
did that take though to accomplish those things?
6 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I work harder than other people, to be honest. So 6 months to me is like I work 15-hour days. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
but I would say if you really, I will also tell you though, AI has gotten so much better, even over the time period that I started using AI and really kind of learning it. The first 6 months that I used the tools was all for like outbound stuff. I was doing like data scraping and creating like AI clones of myself to create videos to send to people, and like that's one of my other crown achievements is
my
like I'll tell you this one's great, you're gonna love this. So I will send an email to a real estate agent to recruit them. if they click on my email and go either to my calendar or to my landing page that we have for them, it kicks off a sequence of events where it goes and does research on that real estate agent using their name, all this kind of stuff. And then once it's got all this data on them, then it takes my mission, which is to recruit them and to talk about, business that we could do together, and it combines them into a script tailored to them specifically that says their name. From there, then it goes to an AI clone that I made of myself, which took a lot of work, by the way, to train it perfectly, to not do too much hand movements and face movements and hip movements and all that kind of stuff. But then it creates a video of me talking to them saying, basically, I've done research on you. Here's why I think we should do business together. And it's very personalized to them. It says their name. The whole website has their name into the website and in the URL. And then it goes to schedule with them and stuff like that. And so it's very
I need
personalized.
to see this.
Yeah. And
That
it's
is so cool.
and you cannot tell if you don't know me, there's no chance you know that it's AI. And if you know me and you're looking on your phone, there's no chance you're gonna know it's not me. But if you know me and you're on a big monitor,
Yeah.
you've got about a 95% accuracy.
Can we test this out? I
Sure.
want you to
No,
send
I
that. I want
want
to
to
play
see
around.
this.
Sure.
I bet you there's people that like want to hire you just to do those types of things for their companies. But
It's so funny
you
you say
can't do
that.
it all though.
It's so
Like,
funny you say that because I've been having so many people ask me that, and I got. So I'm a speaker at a event this Saturday called the Mindshift Conference.
Yeah.
I'm speaking on AI, and then I go to this like mixer before the event, and I meet my co-panelist, this guy named Ricky. We hit it off, and he's going to be speaking about AI too. Next thing you know, we're in conversations about him taking my tools and going out and selling them to other businesses, and us having kind of a split between the two of us. And we just officially like announced our company this week. Starting probably next week, we're gonna start rolling it out. And I'm just gonna take every tool that I've done, which at this point is 32 of them, ranging from like automating your accounting to eliminating transaction costs to basically I can automate your entire sales pipeline, your social media posting, all the different stuff, right? So we've created all these things. So we're just going to create a catalog of everything that I've done.
yeah.
And we're going to say, hey, real estate business, would you like us to do this for you? And we're going to try and do this like bespoke AI services. And then anybody that I know who's doing cool stuff with AI, I'm forming partnerships with them to pay them royalties to get their tools onto
Right.
my database. So I'm going to try and create like an Amazon-like platform for AI agents, because I feel like that's the future, right?
Right.
I don't have to pay this person $75,000 when I can lease this employee for $250
And
a
that's
month.
so true. It's almost like just having like a consultation with you and being like, here's where my business is faltering. Here's the things I need. And then you are like, this is what you, like you almost would know exactly what they would need to accomplish that.
I
And
don't
you do
know
like
if
a
I would know for
catered.
somebody else's business as well as obviously I
Yeah,
know for my
that's
own,
true.
right? Like, you know where all your bodies are buried in your own business. But looking at someone else's business, though, I think how routine and repeatable their business is going to dictate a lot of how much AI can do for them. So, like a McDonald's type of thing is like perfect example of like that should be all robots and AI at this point. I mean, they have a limited menu.
I
and, like,
know.
there's,
I'm
like,
sure they're on their way there. I don't know. I don't go to
yeah.
McDonald's.
There's so
but
many, but then on the other end of the spectrum, like if you're talking about being like a yacht broker or something like that, it's like really hard to imagine how
Right.
you're gonna like show people boats and
Yeah,
do
that's
stuff
true.
like that. So
That's true.
there's a whole scale of what you can do with it, but operationally and accounting wise, I think every business can benefit from AI. And I watched a video the other day that was talking about how the race is on. Basically he who controls the most AI agents is going to have the most power 5 years from now, because imagine now you're just one person and I've got 350 of them working for me or whatever, right? Like imagine the difference in what I could do versus you just with having that support behind me, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
going to make people diverge.
Yeah.
Where did you get started with learning this? Because I mean, a lot of people are almost everyone I would say is using AI to a certain extent. Not the extent that you are,
I
but
know.
maybe they want to integrate it more. Like, what are your top resources for learning what you can
Good
do
question.
and how to do it, and what are your top tools that you use to actually implement things?
Two great questions. So the first one of where do I get my education? Number one, I would say, is YouTube. If you go on there, you'll see there's a handful of AI type experts that all they do is review the new tools and what they do and talk about them. I absorb so much from just like watching those. That's how I unwind at night, literally, is I will watch a half an hour.
YouTube.
I could totally see you doing that also.
I know. And so I like tell people, like, I'm very nerdy and like it's not exciting as you think to be
So
me.
what are your hobbies?
I don't have
watching
hobbies.
AI.
I work out and I work.
Learn. Yeah.
So just basically a workhorse. So YouTube has by far been my number one resource because they actually show you the tools, they talk about them practically, you can kind of learn from different people. Now, as far as the tool stack that I use, I started on ChatGPT like everybody else, right? But then about 6 months-ish ago, Claude really just started to outshine it. So I switched over to Claude. I'm so happy that I moved over. It can do so much. It has a whole suite of different tools like the Claude Desktop and Cowork and Code and all of them. So I use all of them. And then the other big one that I would say that's been instrumental is called Supabase. It's SUPA base.
Like the Nicki Minaj song.
Supabase.
Yep. That's what everybody thinks. Yep. All about
Anyway.
that Supabase. Yeah.
We'll not forget it now. There you
That
go.
one is amazing because it basically functions as like a data repository online, but where it shines is in the fact that it has what's called an MCP connection with Claude. So that means that Claude can go right into your data, read it, and understand it like you had an 180 IQ assistant, right? So it can reason, it can make connections, it can So I did it to do forensic accounting. I loaded hundreds of gigabytes of emails of employees that we had let go into the system and had it parsed out and sorted and put into tables, and I can run queries and I can see anything to do with any invoicing they did, anything they did with a complaint, anything, whatever. I can just say it and it pulls it all up for me or whatever, right?
Wow.
So Supabase is huge in everything that we do. It becomes like your data holder. And then I use two different tools to build user interfaces, Lovable and Base 44. Base 44 is great for creating really sexy landing pages because it's owned by Wix. So you can spin up, really pretty pages very easily. Good for sales funnels. But Lovable is my favorite builder because it's so open and you can build applications, you can build bots, you can build all sorts of stuff, and it can connect directly with the Supabase. And now the biggest advancement in AI now is, are you familiar with the term MCP connection?
No.
I think I've heard it.
Yeah, that's game changing. So if you go into your Claude or your ChatGPT and you go into where the connectors are, and you can type in any tool that you use, like from Gmail to Notion or Monday.com, any of them that you can think of, right? Look to see if they have an MCP connection and connect it with your AI. You'll unlock a whole new set of capabilities. Like now when I'm programming, I don't even go in to the tools anymore. I tell my Claude to go in there, verify the code, come back with suggestions, and then I bring it to a supervisor. I always use a supervisor over any other AI too. Like I anoint one and say, you're in charge of this one. You have to approve of everything that they do. So there's layers on layers now of AI. And so I don't even type anymore. Everything I do is just either verbal or copy paste.
Wow. I am just there's so many, it's almost overwhelming to the person who isn't in that world, right? I use ChatGPT, OpenAI, I'm basic, right? And I've heard of Claude and all that stuff too, but this whole next level layer, it's I wish I could snap my fingers and be where your brain is at.
Right. I mean, hearing
You
this,
know what
I'm
I'm
like,
saying?
wow, I'm so inefficient.
I know. I'm and I'm right away thinking what could we be doing better? But we don't even know we could be doing it better,
Literally
right?
everything.
Everything
Literally
can be done
everything.
better. I look forward to the day where I can automate everything. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, the maintenance troubleshooter, for example, I've never had a person who's been in that role that speaks 28 languages, that can work around the clock, and that can do it perfectly, exactly how I've prescribed it. You know what I mean? AI can do what a human cannot. And when my tenant submits a work order in Spanish and it responds to them in Spanish and confirms everything in Spanish and then sends us an email with letting us know what happened in English without me even having to reason with it. It just knew to do that because
Yeah.
it was put in another language, you know? I mean, we've done some things that like sometimes I can't believe that we've
Yeah.
done. You know what I mean?
God.
Are all of these tools expensive?
Yeah. That's
Oh, that's the funniest part.
really. I just imagine you must
Oh my
pay so
God.
much money for all
You'd be
these tools.
so wrong.
Really?
My total tech stack is $225 a month.
Really? That's
It's just
crazy.
And that's for all upgraded
Like,
plans
just
too.
think about that, though. Think about before AI, we didn't have that, and what you would pay human beings to do that.
Oh yeah.
Like, have you even you probably had
yes, I'm
calculated,
keeping the calculation,
but
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable the money that can be saved by using
It
AI.
is unbelievable. And you know, I think the future belongs to the people who have great ideas.
Yes.
And because nothing is going to stop you now.
That's
Like,
so
I
true.
literally have no programming experience. Like I was a salesman turned into an entrepreneur, and I mean I use computers to do research and type emails and stuff, but like I have never coded a day in my life. Like
Yeah.
so,
Wow.
it's all right there.
I'm like, I need to get on YouTube
I
and
know.
start watching some videos.
I know. I feel like I'm like 10 years behind all of a sudden.
I'm
But-
stunned.
No.
That's amazing.
That's absolutely amazing. So I am really excited to hear that you are going to be talking about AI. Is that in September? Did you
Yeah,
say?
I've got 2 coming up.
Is it already locked in on a date or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So this weekend at the Mindshift conference, August Saturday 1st, and then at my own Minnesota Real Estate Club event on September 10th. And so that's also going to be a unique event. Not only am I going to be on the panel for the first time,
Yeah.
but we're going to increase it from our usual 3 to 6 speakers, and we're going to make it a bigger event because I feel like the people that I got to be on that panel
Yeah.
are just as good as me, but in different ways. And they're going to be so much to learn. Like if you really want to learn from people. So one of the guys who's speaking, for example, he works for a mortgage company. He was able to develop something that they have 5,000 mortgage officers at their company, and each one of them was paying an $800 a year subscription to MBS Highway for this information. He created a replica in 4 hours, and his company was able to save a $4 million a year subscription.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just one of my speakers.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
right.
Wow. Doesn't that just make your mind just like
It makes me
think of-
excited.
I'm like,
Well, the
okay,
thing
I
is
gotta start thinking outside the box more,
Yeah.
like on
You
how
gotta
we
look at
can.
your expense column.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Right.
Because that's where you can trim with AI. Like I looked at it all wrong at first. When
Yeah.
AI first came out and ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna scrape all this data. I'm gonna create all these leads. I'm gonna automate all this. Da, 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 da. And I tried, and like it kind of worked. We got some stuff, but it was not nearly what I thought. But when I flipped to the other side, I started looking at the operations of businesses and what could AI do better than an employee or a software. Next thing you know, I'm whacking jobs and subscriptions and fees and all this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just literally just slicing and dicing through my expense column.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's way more fun too, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because you can see, like, when I took a task that, like, I'll use payroll, for example.
Right.
The woman who was in the role before, the predecessor, when she would run payroll, she had to grab it from these 2 sources and copy and paste it into spreadsheets and then run formulas and then add it up and then take it and over into the payroll. I looked at her process and I was like, that's so dumb. And so I created an app, and next thing you know, the payroll information gets brought in, it gets sorted, it gets reviewed by my AI to look for any discrepancies that I've pre-programmed it to look for, just to make sure like they're not trying to get away with anything.
Yeah.
And make sure that each one then is verified and tied to a GPS login and log out and a job and a work order. And it does all the checks that I would ever consider to do. It does it automatically, and I just hit run, and then I hit download, and then I take that file and I bring it over to here and I hit upload and I hit run, and it's done. So 4 hours and 3 clicks, you know what I mean? So anytime you can take a task and you can just make it it's referred to as human in the loop, right? So all I'm literally doing is looking at it, making sure that it looks right and makes sense, nothing jumps out at me, and then approve, and then send, and then done. You know what I mean? On all these things.
Yeah.
So you can do it just enough to where you're still in control.
Right.
And it's not fully running it, but you can tee it up to where all you're doing is clicking through.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
I have a feeling after this podcast, a lot of people are going to have some questions for you or want to hear you speak or go to one of your events. So what is the best place for somebody to find you? Is there a Instagram handle, website page? Like, where do you think would be the best place for people to learn about Ryan?
Gosh, that's an interesting question.
You're like, I'm all over. I don't know.
I'm on everything,
Yeah,
I guess.
I know.
So, find me through Fuze Real Estate, Fuze Real Estate. That's the main email that I check, and my calendar and everything kind of functions off of that. But if you want to see me in person, you want to get to know me, what I would ask is you come to the Minnesota Real Estate Club events. It tells me how serious a person is if they're willing to commit their Thursday evenings to learning and networking and stuff like that. People will constantly like kind of want to ask for my time, and I'm like, until I know you, come to the club, come 2-3 times, and once I've seen your face a few times and I know you're like really want this, then I'll get a little bit more engaged, because to be honest, like people constantly want me to like teach them what I know,
I'm sure.
and it's been that way throughout the entire time. And I'm usually willing to give somebody like one hit for free, and then it's like the next time it's like, well, how is this mutual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I totally get it.
So does the club have its own page as well? Is that where they find the events?
mnrealestateclub.com. On that page, you'll see our past events, and then you can register for the upcoming event, and you can see who's been a speaker at the previous events and stuff like that. We keep like a little fan pages for all the speakers.
Love that.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that in the show notes for anyone who's interested.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you so
today,
much.
and
This
we
was
will see you
amazing.
soon at one of your events.
Thank you.